Those glasses that you were talking about, those are Apple, and they let you talk to. Why'd you make me big on the screen?
I'm adjusting my microphone.
Okay. Those they let you talk to your friends. They don't keep you like sequestered all to yourself.
Well,
So they knew it.
you
They
can do
thought
the
ahead.
thing where you're like
You can do that with a phone. I mean, last I checked, that works real well. No, you
I
don't do
think
it with the
either
phone.
you're close or you're not. That's how I work. Anyway,
I mean, I talk to you on a phone.
it's true. I'm looking forward to Cornell's run. I don't
For
know
for the speeches.
for the speeches. He's gonna say the things,
Mm,
and I'm looking forward to him saying the things and people getting the message
hmm
in a different way.
Well, Pascal hit on this, and this is kind of the first question that or talking point that I have, and everything I'm asking right now, I'm also asking to you guys that are watching the show. We definitely are going to open up the phone lines in the champagne room because I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Ben Burgess, my friend, recently wrote a piece for Jacobin where he calls for a West run as a Democrat and to try to get on the debate stage with Joe Biden. From his article in Jacobin, West's message is vitally important to the future of American democracy, and he is a gifted messenger. If he's going to do this, he should grab the biggest megaphone available to him. That means taking on Joe Biden for the Democratic nomination. Would a West run as a Green or a Democrat be a more serious move, or is it still simply a vanity campaign? And I'll combine the second question: can a vanity campaign like this even challenge power?
who do you want to start with?
Whoever
I'll
wants to.
answer.
Oh my goodness! The lady wants to go
The
first.
lady wants to
The
go
lady,
first.
take the stage, lady.
Well, I think that the People's Party campaign that seemed more like a vanity project and more like it was doomed because it's such a new party. It doesn't have party infrastructure, only on the ballot in Florida of all places. So that wasn't looking very good. Apparently, he's newly switching to the Green Party.
Mhm,
That to me is a lot more serious in terms of him running a campaign where the message is first.
mhm,
Like I said, I'm looking forward to him saying the things we all know he's going to say.
mhm,
Say the things for the people. It's going to be dope. He's gonna challenge people with the things that he says,
mhm.
and when he presents the things, he's going to not make it safe for his competition to just sort of weasel out of what he's talking about. So yeah, I take the Green Party run a lot more seriously. Considering that he's already switched parties,
Mhm.
he may do it again and just say, you know what, I'm gonna run as a Democrat now. Hey, I'm Cornell West. I do what I want.
He's treating everybody like a TA.
Why not?
Well, for me, I think what's interesting is that the Democratic Party doesn't seem to be interested in actually having a real primary for Joe Biden at all right about now.
Mhm,
Frankly, it seems like they just want to have a coronation. From what I understand, I've read that they're not even necessarily opening up the debates to having anyone debate Biden. They're the way they've structured the actual primary calendar
mhm.
completely favors Biden since the first state of South Carolina, which you understand what that means for Jim Clyburn and his ability to basically just hand that over to Biden as well. So the question becomes is like, what kind of Democratic primary is there even going to be for the people like Robert F. Kennedy and Marianne Williamson in the first place, who are talking about challenging Biden? I mean, we realize that traditionally, when you have a president who's finished one term, the norm is that he's not challenged in in a primary. The last time we've had that happen was with Jimmy Carter with Ted Kennedy in '76, which did not really end up working out too well for Jimmy Carter's long-term presidential campaign. So the question thus becomes is that how exactly is the Democratic Party going to be welcoming primary challenge to Joe Biden? I see that the Democratic Party is going to do nothing but sabotage those things. I've been hearing people talking about how Gavin Newsom is even being floated as a
That's me.
possible. I'm hearing that from you, and
I've been saying that for over a year now. I mean, Gavin Newsom is actually trying to pass a bill to actually amend the Constitution,
Mm.
a gun rights bill, or not or a gun registration bill that would be constitutional. And a governor trying to have a constitutional reform in an election run-up cycle with a guy that's had, for the most part, regardless of what people want to think, he's had a pretty good political record. I'm not a fan, but I don't look at this from the I watch all these shows on YouTube view of things. I look at it from kind of the real world. How do people vote? How do people see people, especially political figures?
well, first of all, Gavin Newsom was recently on Fox News, and he's not going on Fox News simply because he's trying to make himself seem appealable to
Mm.
Democrats. He's going on Fox News because he realizes that he might be able to use some of his talking points in a way that's appealing to people that are coming from a much more, you know, cross match of political audience. So, in terms of Cornell West, not to dance around the issue, is that when people are saying that Cornell West should run as a Democrat, the question is how exactly is the Democratic Party going to allow anyone, not only Cornell, but anyone, to actually effectively primary Joe Biden when, from what I'm seeing about the primary price process, the Democratic Party is trying to do nothing but coronate Joe Biden and ensure that he engages as little as possible with anyone who's thinking about running against him, whether they be a Democrat or anything else. In terms of the People's Party, I agree with M. Toussaint that there was nothing that inured Cornell West to serious accolades in terms of running on the People's Party. It's a very new party, started, I believe, in 2017 by people who were disenfranchised by the way Bernie Sanders was treated. There's a lot of, alleged allegations and scandals with its founder, ranging from allegations of all types that we don't have to go into here. But the point of the matter is that I saw Cornel West answering to some of those allegations on Democracy Now!, and frankly, they
Mhm.
didn't seem particularly too. It didn't seem like he was really trying to bring down the hammer to come to clarity on some of those issues. So, and the fact that the People's Party is only recognized in the state of Florida, I was like, what good is that? It's not even a serious third party. The
Mhm.
Green Party does have a much more vigorous national infrastructure. It does allow for him to be on the ballot in more states. I wish the Green Party had been able to get the required 5% voting in the last two election cycles that would have allowed it to expand in terms of its overall presence, but it has not been able to do so. Some people have been making the argument, though, that the running progressive candidates on the green ticket
Mhm.
doesn't give the same power that Bernie Sanders had in 2016 and 2020 in influencing the Democrat incumbent president to move his agenda to the left because
Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you that. Let's build on this for a second. The Bernie Sanders moment and the Donald Trump moment in 2016 is an extremely important moment in American politics because there is a bit of a political awakening in this moment that we don't get in 2008. And the language has changed, right? Can we all agree, even people, watching, that language has changed a bit, right? Um, and a lot of things happened since 2016, right? The shelter in place orders that happened, ad nauseum, uh, police police killings and vigilante killings. Now we're seeing a slight uptick in these vigilante killings. But all these things forced some major policy changes, right? Or at least rhetorically, right? Um, when you're running someone like Cornell West, that's pretty much an online thing because he's not going to get the national media attention that someone like Donald Trump got because he's not that insane of a figure. You know, Tucker Carlson's gone off TV. His 8 o'clock slot is gone. A Tucker Carlson Twitter interview is not going to be the same thing as Tucker Carlson on Fox News with Cornell West. Are we too fragmented now in this era of mass politics to even really consider someone like Cornell West or Marianne Williamson having a very serious run for office? I mean, Bernie Sanders is running within, like you said, the infrastructure of the Democratic Party. So he was able to capture the hearts and minds of some people that might have been mildly disaffected.
Well, I think that the Bernie Sanders moment is a culmination of many very, very serious things. The disaffection with the economy and the suffering of people by the 2008 crash. The disaffection with the Democratic Party because they were perceived to be the more harsh steward of the shift to neoliberal capitalism under the Clintons and even Obama.
Mhm.
That gave Bernie a lot of ammunition to come in on their watch and criticize them and have them be shot. People who were young who didn't remember having all these glorious attachments to the Kennedys and Bill Clinton in 92 were like, they shipped the jobs out of Michigan and caused, the people in their families to be on opioids.
Mhm.
So they didn't have that kind of affection to the Democratic Party. The stain of neoliberalism is still attached to Democrats. When people say neoliberals, now they think Democrats, they don't think Republicans. Right?
True.
There's a lot of people who don't realize that wasn't the case for many years in this country. So Bernie Sanders helps that happen. But what happens in 2016 also is we have the rise of Trump. We came to a dialectic, which is basically a fancy word for competing two interests, and you would analyze how they affect each other. We had left wing populism, and we had the illusion of right wing populism,
Mhm.
or the charade of right wing populism. All
Mhm.
right, the charade of right wing populism won, and I got to tell you something. In all of my life watching politics, and I've been watching politics since I was a kid in this country, the only thing I ever saw Democrats scared of and Republicans scared of was the rise of the charade of right wing populism in Donald Trump. The corporate Republicans, like the old guard blue bloods, like the Bushes,
Mhm.
they went they went berserk about the rise of Trump and what he was doing to their party. The Democrats were like, the F word, the fascist word was
Mhm.
everywhere
Mhm.
about Trump. The perception that they actually had brought to the consciousness of the non-Trump MAGA world was literally an incarnation of Trump-like Mussolini in America was coming.
Mhm.
That was the messaging. And let us not, whether we believe it or not is irrelevant. That messaging is being recycled again in the face of DeSantis and what's going on in the red states. So whether or not we try to believe here at TR that we are intellectually above being swayed by the rhetoric, I don't think that we can deny that there are large swaths of this country
Mhm.
who see the rise. Yes, there was a competition between left populism and the charade of right populism. Right populism won, and to see the specter of right populism as everything must be to stop that from taking power. That is Darth Vader. That is the evil empire.
Yeah. Well, okay. Again, with no mass politics and it's just mass popularity, do both parties would they prefer to kind of run more traditional boring candidates like DeSantis and Gavin Newsom and have an extremely low voter turnout?
You know, that's a really great question, Jason, because I gotta tell you right now, I live in Florida. I
Mhm.
don't DeSantis is only boring because he's not Trump, but
Yeah.
the stuff he's doing is not boring. It's kind of some wacky stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's not in like his personality is clearly not charming, but this cat, I know we are tired of the F word, the fascist word.
Mhm.
I think we all are. The thing that disturbs the traditional corporate Democrat about DeSantis is that Trump is too undisciplined to be a good fascist. DeSantis doesn't have that problem.
I don't think Trump really understands what anything is.
Yeah, I don't think Trump has a politics besides his own ego.
Mhm.
I think Trump's politics is his ego.
But it works though. It's kind of like that Berlusconi moment where, hey, my ego is going to be a political moment, and it kind of is.
Right. But what's fascinating is that there are people in the Republican Party who are not like the old guard Bush types, who are
Mhm.
even tired of the Trump mania. They're like, Trump
Mhm.
is too manic, give him his meds or whatever. He's just too much mania with Trump. We need something more stable. And they're really well. The guy who used to own Callin, he's big into Ron DeSantis, the billionaire. What's his name? The guy who owned Callin.
Is that why he won't let us have a show?
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. But he's
Mm. Oh.